Life moves fast between work, family, relationships, and those impossible expectations we place on ourselves. It's easy to feel stretched thin, like we're showing up for everyone but ourselves. But what if just a few daily habits could shift everything? Not just productivity, but peace. Not just getting more done, but feeling more alive. Today, I'm sharing 10 life-changing habits for every modern woman, but let's break down the 5 that truly move the needle. Let's talk about the way we start and end our day. It's so easy to jump into our mornings in reactive mode. The alarm goes off, we grab our phones, scroll through a flood of messages, news, social feeds, before we've even had a glass of water. And from that moment, we're off to the races, responding, fixing, solving, doing. And by the time the sun goes down, we collapse into bed, exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Now, here's what I want to suggest. What if we just paused at the bookends of our day? What if we made space? Just a few intentional minutes at the beginning and end to reconnect with ourselves before the world starts asking us to be everything for everyone. Because here's the truth. How you start and end your day sets the tone for everything in between. The first few minutes in the morning, they're like wet cement. Whatever thoughts and habits you pour in will set the foundation for how you respond to stress, to people, to challenges. And the last few minutes before bed, that's where your mind decompresses, processes, and prepares for the next day. So if your mornings begin in chaos and your nights end in burnout, it's no wonder your life feels like it's on a loop of overwhelm. Now, I'm not talking about a 2-hour elaborate self-care ritual. No one has time for that, especially if you've got kids, a career, a partner, or all three. I'm talking 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. Time that belongs to you and no one else. In the morning, before you pick up your phone, put your feet on the ground and just sit for a second. Breathe. Ask yourself one powerful question. What kind of woman do I want to be today? Not what needs to get done, not who needs your help. Who do you want to be? Calm, focused, grateful, driven, because the truth is your intention will drive your attention. When you name what matters most, you're far more likely to live it out. For some, that might look like writing down a few thoughts in a journal. For others, it's sipping coffee in silence before the emails start flying. Maybe it's prayer. Maybe it's a short walk. There's no one size fits all. But what matters is that you're not being dragged into your day by default. You're choosing to lead it. Now let's flip to the evening. If your nights are a blur of last-minute tasks, mindless scrolling, or trying to numb out the stress, I get it. But here's what happens. We go to bed mentally wired and emotionally empty. Then we wake up tired and the cycle repeats. So here's a simple shift. Treat your nighttime like a gentle landing. About 30 minutes before bed, turn down the lights, put your phone away, and do something that helps your body feel safe. That might be stretching, reading a few pages of a book, reflecting on what went well that day, not what went wrong. When you close your eyes in gratitude, you train your brain to find peace even in the middle of chaos. And if you're thinking, that sounds great, but my schedule is insane, remember this. Habits don't need to be long to be life-changing. They need to be intentional. The woman who protects the first and last moments of her day is not selfish. She's wise because she knows her energy is her responsibility. And when that energy is grounded, everything she touches, her work, her relationships, her decisions, gets better. This isn't about perfection. You'll miss a day, maybe several. That's okay. The point is not to do it every day, but to remember you can do it any day. Your peace is not a reward, it's a practice. And you are allowed to create it for yourself, starting and ending right where you are. Because how you begin and how you end is how you build. Let's talk about something that challenges a lot of us, especially women who are used to holding things together, showing up and saying yes even when it costs them. Saying no. Not the kind of no that's loud or defiant. I'm talking about the kind of no that's calm, respectful, and firm. The kind that says, I value myself enough to choose where my energy goes. For a lot of women, that feels heavy. It feels uncomfortable. Because from an early age, many of us were taught to equate being kind with being available. We learned that being liked meant being agreeable. And somehow we confused being selfless with being self-abandoning. But here's what I've learned, not just in my work, but in life. When you say yes to everything, you're not being generous. You're being exhausted. You're giving people the version of you that's burned out, stretched thin, and quietly resentful. That's not sustainable, and it's not honest. So what do? We start by untangling guilt from responsibility. Saying no doesn't mean you're rude. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're paying attention to what you can carry without outdropping the things that matter most. When someone asks you for your time, your help, your energy, and something in your gut tightens up, that's not selfishness speaking. That's your body reminding you of your limits. Boundaries aren't walls. They're filters. They don't shut people out. They protect what's within. And if you want your yes to really mean something, you've got to be willing to protect it with a healthy no. Now, let's be real. It's hard to say no when you're used to being the reliable one, the go-to, the fixer. But every time you agree to something out of fear or guilt, you're betraying a little piece of yourself. And that betrayal adds up. It shows up in your tone, your posture, your sleep. It leaks into your relationships. There's a quiet strength in being able to say, I wish I could, but I can't right now. Or that doesn't work for me. You don't have to defend it. You don't need a long explanation. Clarity is enough. And you'll be surprised how often people will respect it when you say it with peace instead of apology. Because when you stop over-explaining, you start owning your choices. You stop shrinking to keep everyone comfortable. You start recognizing that your time is a resource and it's not unlimited. Every yes is a trade. You're trading your energy, your attention, your presence. So the real question becomes, is this yes worth what I'm giving up for it? If you're not sure where to start, try pausing. You don't have to answer right away. Say, let me think about it and get back to you. That pause gives you space to check in with yourself, to ask, do I want to do this? Do I have the capacity? Is this aligned with who I'm becoming? If the answer is no, then say kindly, clearly, and without guilt. That's not weakness. That's leadership over your own life. And here's something else. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you create space for something that does. You make room for rest, for creativity, for the people and projects that truly matter. You shift from reacting to choosing, and that shift is powerful. People might not like it at first. That's okay. Boundaries will reveal who's been benefiting from your lack of them, but stay grounded. Because as you get clearer, your relationships will get healthier. The people who truly care about you will adjust. And the ones who don't, that's information. That's clarity too. Your time is not a buffet for everyone to pick from. It's your life. You get to choose what belongs in it. Saying no isn't closing the door to others. It's opening the door to yourself. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can say is no. One of the most overlooked habits in a busy life, especially for modern women constantly pulled in every direction, is the habit of white space. Just the thought of it makes some people uncomfortable. Time with no agenda, no tasks, no productivity. But here's the truth: the constant push to do more, be more, achieve more, it comes at a cost. And too often, the first thing we sacrifice is ourselves. Our schedules are packed, every minute accounted for. From the moment we wake up, it's go mode, meetings, errands, responsibilities, family texts, deadlines. And we convince ourselves that the busier we are, the more valuable we must be. But busy doesn't equal fulfilled. It doesn't equal happy. And it definitely doesn't equal whole. What happens in that kind of nonstop rhythm is we start living from a place of reaction instead of intention. We become so conditioned to this rush that silence feels strange. Stillness feels wrong. But here's the thing: white space isn't wasted space. It's where clarity lives. It's where your nervous system can reset. It's where you hear yourself again. When your mind is constantly overstimulated, when every gap is filled with noise, scrolling, checking, replying, you leave no room to simply be. And being is where your deeper self starts to speak. The part of you that's not trying to prove anything. The part that's just tired of surviving and ready to start feeling again. White space is not a luxury. It's a necessity, especially if you want to live with alignment instead of burnout. Now, let me be clear. This doesn't mean you clear your calendar and disappear for a week. It means you start small. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a short walk without your phone, sitting in the car before walking into your house, not jumping to fill every lull in your day. It's those small pauses that give your brain the reset it's been begging for. Because here's what happens when you don't have that space: your decisions get rushed, your patience wears thin, your creativity tanks, and your body starts sending signals. Fatigue, irritability, even physical pain. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's your body trying to get your attention. Some of the most powerful breakthroughs don't come when we're pushing. They come when we finally stop, when we allow room for reflection, when we stop stuffing every second with noise and let silence do its quiet work. Think about your calendar for a second. Is it packed edge to edge? If someone looked at it, would they see any time reserved for you? If the answer is no, that's not a sign of strength. That's a red flag. You don't need to earn your rest. You don't need to justify time spent not producing. You're allowed to pause simply because you need to. And if the idea of doing nothing makes you anxious, that's probably a sign you need it even more. Because somewhere along the way, we've tied our worth to our output. And that's a dangerous equation because it never lets you rest. But you are not a machine. You are a human being with limits, with emotions, with rhythms that need tending to. White Space honors that. It says, I'm not just here to keep going. I'm here to live. Some of the women I know who are the most grounded, the most wise, the most resilient, they don't just grind through life. They step back. They reflect. They protect time that has a no agenda. And ironically, that's what gives them the clarity and strength to show up when it matters. White space isn't about disconnecting from your life. It's about reconnecting with it. It's the pause that lets you remember what's actually worth your energy. It's the breath between the sentences of your story that makes the whole thing make sense. So if your life feels like one long run on sentence, maybe it's time to add a comma, a pause, a breath, because rest is not what you do when you're done. It's what allows you to keep going with purpose. Let's talk about the way you treat your body, not from a place of pressure or comparison, but from a place of respect. We live in a world that constantly tells women how they should look, what they should weigh, how they should eat, what they should cut out. And it's exhausting. Somewhere along the way, food became either reward or punishment. Movement became something we do because we hate how we feel, not because we love how we live. But I want to reframe this. What if you started fueling your body like someone you actually care about? Because the way you treat your body